In today's video I'll show you how to plant a rose. This is a just regular rose. This one is from David Austin and it's called Queen of Sweden. This is really good quality of roses. As you can see, the plant is very nice and healthy. It's already got flowers because it's been quite warm lately, so it's definitely time to plant this rose. And before you plant it, you need to make sure and choose the best area for your rose. In this case, it has to be at least 4 hours of sun, so we're gonna we have located a nice place for it. I have 2 of them, so this is probably one of my favorite roses and it smells amazing. This plant comes with a nice tag and it has all the information you need to know about it. So we've got color, how to plant it, how to feed it, and how to prune it, and we've got all the information here, so I would recommend it to keep that. And also mentioning watering the plant as well, watering your rose. Before we start planting your rose, you do need to make sure to water it. And then with regards to the watering, you need to remember that you do not water your rose on the leaves, on top of the leaves or flower ever. If you water your plants on a leaf and on the leaves and the water will stay on them during the night, that will just encouraging diseases, so not recommended for sure. If you water your rose, it has to be directly by the base in here, and if the water is coming out and flooding on other areas, you have to stop, wait so it soaks in and then carry on. When you're planting a rose like this, you need to make sure it has at least 4 hours of sun, and also it has enough space so it's away from other plants, so it's not in direct competition with other plants around it, so that's important as well. More sun is better for roses, of course, but afternoon shade would be beneficial as well, so but not full shade. More sun, it's better, of course. Roses can be planted all year round, and the only not recommended time to plant them is when the ground is frozen or waterlogged. There is 2 different types of roses you can purchase. So potted rose like this one, and you can also purchase a bare root. So bare root would basically come without any leaves. They are slightly cheaper, but for a beginner I would advise to buy probably more established plant like this one. More chances that it will survive and there will be no problem with it. It's slightly more expensive, but I think it's better. Okay, I will show you now what we need, everything we need to plant a potted rose. We're gonna start with obviously a rose. I'm using today just normal potted rose like you can see in here. And if you do have just a bare root rose, so just a rose with roots, and what you will have to remember is just to soak your roots in the water for a couple of hours before planting. This one, all we have to do is just water it well before we're gonna plant it. So we make sure we water it well just now before planting it, and then it will be good to go. What else we'll need is a pair of gloves. So obviously garden gloves. We're gonna be planting roses, so you want good quality gloves, not a plastic one, because they would rip in 2 seconds. What we'll need is this good spade like this one, and we'll need a fork. Why do we need a fork? We do need a garden fork to make sure that we can dig even further in the hole to make sure that our rose roots got even more space, and this will aid development of the roots and help the rose to get established. We also will need a manure. So this one is recommended by David Austin. It's called Specially Quality Soil Improver, so we can use that unless you can get your hands off the one directly from the farmer. And we'll be digging the hole and using the ground from the soil from the hole, and also some of this one soil improver, probably about 25%, so we'll be mixing them a little bit. So this one will go on the bottom of the hole, and then a little bit more later on, and then mixed up with the soil from the ground you will be planting it. The last thing we'll need is one of those. We'll probably need 1/3 of this packet per rose, and this will help, again, this will help aid the root development, and it will help establish our rose. This one I have purchased directly from the David Austin website. It was probably about £13, I think. What we'll do, we'll dig a hole, sprinkle some on the bottom of the hole and then on the side of it as well, and then directly we'll sprinkle some on the roots of our rose. Before we take our rose out, we need to make sure to get rid of those. And those has been put there so our plant won't dry out, so we don't want to be planting this with those from the top, so we're just basically gonna get rid of it first and then water our rose well. This is established rose, probably 3-year-old, and this one we can water once a week. And freshly planted like this one, we're gonna have to water every other day. Freshly planted rose like this, we can only water every other day. It's very easy to recognize if you overwatering your rose, because your leaves gonna become yellow and it will go like this. Okay, we're ready now to plant our rose. First thing we're gonna have to do is water your plant well, and make sure you do it just at the base of the rose. It's very important. And before we do that, we need to get rid of all that dry wooden bits. Next thing we need to do is remove the tag, because we don't need it, but we're gonna put it behind our rose for future references. As I said, it does have all the information you need to know about the rose and how to look after it. I always make sure to put it behind the rose so I can refer to it later if I need to. We're gonna now water our rose well. Okay, we need to dig a hole 40 centimeters on 40 centimeters to be able to plant a rose. It's very important to remove all the stones. If you find any stones like this in a hole which you're digging for your rose, make sure to remove everything, all the remains of any stones, as obviously this is not good for your rose, especially for the roots of your rose. We have to take our plant out, so we're gonna shake it a little bit on the side. On the top, do you? Okay, we're gonna take it out now. We're gonna take it upside down.
Where do you want me to tip that stuff?
We're gonna put this on the bottom of the hole. Okay, we're gonna put some on the bottom now of the hole and on the sides of it.
That way.
Okay, now we're gonna backfill it with the same soil and the soil improver. You need to push it down the ground, the soil, so there's no air pockets as well. You keep pushing it down as you go. So we're gonna backfill this with 25% of soil improver and the same soil which we had, which we dig the hole with. Okay, last thing we need to do is keep the tag. I usually keep it and put it on the back of it, just there, place it there. Okay, the last thing we need to do now is water your plant well, and we're gonna water it just at the base. Again, I just need to highlight the fact that you cannot water your leaves or a flower. Now planted our rose. Now we're going to watch it grow. In the next video we'll be planting a climber rose in a pot.